The sun has risen here at Carolina Beach today. It's going to be a beautiful morning, a good day to take a walk out the old Basin trail of peace. It's going to be kind of a Fort Fisher Hermit type of day, I believe. I got some stuff to go out there and see for myself. It's going to be a beautiful day, and I get to show off this new updated version of the Fort Fisher Hermit mural here on the backside of the Last Resort bar here in Carolina Beach, which I think it looks fan-freaking-tastic. This thing looks awesome, and it's going to be all about School of Common Sense. As you can see, it's written right there on the wood design in this photo. Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have my coffee in hand. Cheers if you are also a coffee drinker. This is going to be a fun vlog today. We're going to first make our way down to the resting place of the Fort Fisher Hermit. We're going to go check out his grave. I'm going to show you where that location is if you ever want to come down here and check any of this stuff out today. There's been many books written about the Fort Fisher Hermit also. It's worth a read sometime, or you can just Googling. Wikipedia is loaded with information, but there is a lot of good books out there. My mom has quite a few of them, and that's how I learned about the Fort Fisher Hermit, or Robert Harrell was his actual real name. I'm not going to do a deep dive in a lot of the history of the Fort Fisher Hermit today. We're going to loosely skirt around to give you kind of the backstory of him. I've done other videos where I took a little bit more of a deep dive into his history. Matter of fact, I think my first actual YouTube video that I uploaded here on the channel, first real one, I think the first one I did was just ribs. Just me cooking ribs, never showed my face, I was terrified. But the next one that I uploaded was the Fort Fisher Hermit. And it was a fairly short video, but that was like my first real stab. I did it all on my cell phone, and I didn't have no camera at that point in time, obviously. But yeah, that was a fun day, and I'm still pretty proud of that video for my first time. A little cringy, not that I'm not cringy now sometime too, but hey, that's just me. All right, so all that being said, let's go ahead and leave here. We're going to make our way down to his resting place, the cemetery where you can find his grave, and then we're going to make our way on down to the south end of the island, and I'm going to show you what we're going to go look for today. It's not his World War II bunker that we have documented so many times. There is actually two like concrete stanchions that come up out of the ground down there that's hidden off the Basin trail a bit, and that is where we're headed to. Supposedly he took some paint back in the day and actually wrote his name, the Fort Fisher Hermit, on it, maybe with his fingers even, I don't know, but his signature in some way, shape, or form, however you want to say it, is down there all these years later. What, 60, maybe 70 years? I don't know exactly when he wrote it. He lived here in the area from like 1955 to the early 70s. I think 72-ish or something like that. But he was down here for quite some time. But yeah, we're going to go down there and see if we can find where he wrote his name on those pylons. Thank you for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. That was a little bit of a bloated intro, but let's go get this thing started now. Cheers. All right, I've made it back here on Dow Road, which is the road that kind of skirts down the backside of Pleasure Island. And it's a good way to get to Curie Beach if you do not want to drive through Carolina Beach, all that traffic and stuff, especially all that congestion in the summer months. It's a good bypass. But we are here to check this place out, the Federal Point Methodist Church Cemetery. We're just going to take a little walk right back through here. Go back, check out the Fort Fisher Hermit grave site before we move on to Fort Fisher itself. Oh, that hits the spot. That is so good. I am praying right now that it's still very early in the springtime. It's about 65 degrees this morning. It's going to be a beautiful day. I think we're going to actually get up into the mid 70s. Very low humidity. I got to do some work out in the yard, work on my deck a little bit more. I think we're going to finish up the deck today, which is really exciting. You know, it's taken me like 2 years. I'm just kidding. I've never built a deck before or updated a deck, so I'm kind of learning as I go. But I've not wasted anything quite yet. Me and my wife's been a pretty good team. But there was a viewer of the channel that watched my Fort Fisher video about the World War II target practice for planes out there in the River Basin area, at the Basin Trail. And he brought to my attention, his name is GMC or GMG Triad NC was his name. So thank you for giving me this little bit of information about the Fort Fisher Hermit that I really did not know about. I think he had a family member or something, if I remember correctly, that used to go out and visit the hermit back in the day. And a lot of people used to go out there and visit the hermit. I think he was the second most visited attraction here in the greater Wilmington area back in those days when he lived out there. The only thing I think that more people went to go visit was the North Carolina battleship. And that is saying something. That is a big deal. You was a big attraction if you was number 2 behind that, I believe. So that was really cool. But he was one that originally told me that back in those days, people used to drive down 421. And the road 421 passed through Carolina Beach, which it still does. And it goes all the way down to the ferry terminal. And it actually stops at the River Basin. There's like what they just call the Basin, where people go down there and kite surf and stuff like that. But we'll see all that today. But supposedly the road used to take a different turn down there at the end. It used to actually extend out closer to the Fort Fisher Hermit bunker itself. And at the end of the road where people would park, like in a sandy area, there was these 2 concrete like stanchions that sticked up out of the ground. And that's supposedly where the hermit actually wrote in paint Fort Fisher Hermit. So that's what this is what this vlog's about today. I find that so fascinating. To me, the Fort Fisher Hermit story has always been a fascinating one, because he just seemed like such a kind soul that was kind of misunderstood, sick of all of the weirdness and politics in life. And one day he just decided to say, heck it, I am going to hitchhike from Morganton, North Carolina, down to Fort Fisher. And I'm going to live in a tent. When he first come to town, I did read that he lived in a tent next to, I think, one of the Confederate monuments or something down there. I don't know exactly which one, but I'm going to show you one that he could have stayed at in a tent. It might be the right one, it might not. I'm not really sure. But we're going to go down there and see if that's a Confederate monument at Fort Fisher. I can't remember if the one I'm thinking of is actually the one, but that's where he originally stayed at. And then from there he moved out to the World War II bunker. He found that little jewel and he moved out there and just squatted in that thing and lived for a lot of years. So all that being said, this right here is the cemetery. I always think that's so cool. They got like this little church, little wooden church built back there with that cross. They got some benches. Now nobody in the right mind's actually won't sit there, at least in the summer months, because holy crap, this place will be loaded with mosquitoes. But this, right outside of this fence right here, and there's a name for this spot. See, there's other graves right here, but I don't know if it's part of the same cemetery. But he laid to rest right here in this area. As you see this little frying pan right here, he was kind of known for this out at the World War II bunker. He had a little frying pan, and people that would come out there and talk to him, and he would school them on his common sense. They would tip him with money just like that in his frying pan. And they got a little Fred Sanford and Son truck right here. Check that out. I had to do it. I love that little tune. And we got some Snoopy stuff. It looks like people have brought some of their kids out here, and they put little Snoopy items out here and things like that. Each time I come out here, it's always a little bit different. It really is a little bit different, but this is it. Robert E. Harrell, Fort Fisher Hermit, made people think. I like that. He was actually born February 2nd. Move some of this stuff out of the way where we can see it. 1893. And he was found dead June 4th, 1972. All right, man, that's some really nice conch shells right there too. Check that out. Really pretty. Okay, all that being said, I think it's time to leave and move on down to the Basin Trail area and get this party started. Get this walk on. This is going to be some steps this morning. because it's probably a good 3/4 mile walk out to where we're going, to a mile, something like that, give or take. Time I finish walking, it'll definitely be a mile out there and then a mile back, pretty much, because I'll probably walk you all the way to the Basin, because I'm just crazy like that. Get the extra steps in, but the bugs know I'm here. 100%, because I can hear them. They're like around your ear. Zzz. I got you, Yeti. I know you come out here earlier to try to get away from all our craziness. And early in the morning, they're already up. They smelt my coffee, probably. And that coffee is delicious, man. I bought this coffee from the vault this morning. Those young ladies in there hooked me up with a nice hot coffee. Brewed perfectly. All right. On to the next stop. All right, I made my way down here to Fort Fisher. This is a Civil War monument down here at Fort Fisher. And the reason I stopped here is because when I was reading on Wikipedia about Robert Harrell, the hermit life part of his little write-up on there, he actually stopped possibly here. It just says that he set up a tent close to a Civil War monument that was very close to Fort Fisher, and Fort Fisher itself is just right across the road. So this right here could have been the area. A lot of people come down here and just park and take a little walk along the ocean. It's really beautiful here. I love coming down here and taking my walks and stuff in the morning with your coffee, but this here could be the monument. I just want to stop here and document it. If anybody knows for sure and you was around back in that time period, I'd love to hear from you. Is this the actual Civil War monument that they was referring to on Wikipedia, that he lived in a tent right here before he headed down to the World War II bunker where we're headed to next? I don't know. Just wanted to put it out there. This could be the spot. All right, I've made it down here to the Fort Fisher recreation area, and as you can see, the parking lot is closed to the public, so I had to actually park up at the Fort Fisher overlook where we were just at, and I had to walk it all the way down here to this area, which I'm not complaining. It's a beautiful day to do a little extra walking, but my steps today have definitely increased because of that. But I think that's my advantage and good for me. It's good for your heart. Look at that American flag up there. Okay, we're going to hit on out this trail right here. The Basin Trail. Right there. Right across the way. And get our walk in. Let's go out there and check out some fun Fort Fisher Hermit history. Shall we? As we're fixing to enter the Basin Trail, you can see these guys with their four-wheel drive trucks fixing to go out on the beach. They're airing their tires down, which is very important to do if you want to drive in sand. It seems like every year you see a lot of people, they don't air their tires down and then they try to drive in that sand and it just sinks. But if you take a little bit of the air out of them, it works out a lot better because your footpath is a little wider when you have slack tires. So try to show you on this map. It's very foggy looking, but right here we are, and we're going to make our way right out through here to this Basin Trail area. And right there is the World War II bunker, but right before that bunker, right here where this little bend is, right there, I think that's where we got to start looking off the beaten path for those concrete pillars or stanchions that's sticking out of the ground, and find our Fort Fisher Hermit autograph, if you will. As I'm walking through the Basin Trail, so far so good as far as bugs go. It's very warm today. So, you know, I told you when the video started it was like 65-ish, and it's actually all the way up to about 70 right now. Just probably less than 20 minutes later, 30 minutes, it really got warmer. Once that sun burned through those clouds, you could really feel the heat pick up a little bit. But when I parked over there at Fort Fisher, the no-see-ums were out. That's those little bugs, you can't really see them, but you can just like feel them like right in front of your eyeballs and around your ears. But back here, so far so good. No bugs at all. Let's keep our fingers crossed that they don't find us and come running. And definitely don't want to see no snakes or gators. Have to keep our eyes out for that too. There have been quite a few gator spottings here in the area over the last few weeks, especially along the Greenway Trail at Carolina Beach and some of the water areas. A lot of alligators moving around. All right, we're here on the part of the Basin Trail where we spill out onto the beach a little bit. There's some other walkers out here with their dogs, and you can see the Fort Fisher Aquarium right here. But if you are walking the trail, just continue on walking down this sandy path, and right up here we're going to take a right and head out into the Basin area. All right, we're walking along here and we have a visitor here on the old Basin Trail. This is quite common. As you can see, this little guy right here doing a little sunbathing out here on the trail. Good thing is, it's not a copperhead. Okay, let's move on, and I'm going to stand right here for a minute, make sure the people behind me walking, because they got a couple dogs with them, we'll make sure they know about this. That way the dogs don't get spooked and rile this little guy up, and everybody can live happily together. So I'm just gonna hang out right here and just let them know. It's the right thing to do. All right, I made my way out here on the Basin Trail. This long wooden pathway right here, when you complete this journey of the Basin Trail, you know you got to be getting pretty close to where you need to be. And right over here behind this tree, I think it's where the concrete pylons is that the gentleman was talking about in the comment section down below about a video that I did about this. If you can see it way out there, I try to zoom in the best I can, but that little block or rectangular concrete thing out there, that is actually a target for World War II planes. They used to practice like dropping bombs right there. They use like sandbags and things like that. Got a vlog about it. I will put a link down in the description below if you would like to see that video. I actually walked out there to it and showed it up close. And the good folk I was just walking with, well, I stayed and told him about the snake. I'm glad I did, because it was barefooted, you know. I felt kind of bad because he said I would have walked right up on that thing. Appreciate it, you know. But all in all, we're going to be walking right down through here and really looking at the ground very well to make sure there ain't nothing spooky back here that could harm us. Laughing about that because right there's a spider web. Let me move him out of the way. But this is the spot right here. We are kind of in the thicket, ain't we? So this right here would be the concrete pylons that the gentleman was talking about, but I'm not seeing a name on them, you know. But right here I do see something written on this one. It says, "In loving memory." Can you see that? Check that out. That's got to be directed toward the Fort Fisher Hermit. What do we got on this one? Oh, there it is. It's just so much stuff is kind of grown up around it. But right there it is. Look at that. You can see it. Fort Fisher Hermit. So supposedly he wrote that with some paint out here. And he died in, I think, 1972. Like June 4th, 1972. So I don't know what time period he actually wrote it. He was out here for quite a while. I mean, he made his way down here in 1955, I think. So he was down here for like, 16, 17 years before he tragically passed away. His death is still a mystery to this very day, by the way. But yeah, man, that is pretty awesome. If he actually wrote that on there, I'm not sure if he did or not, but that is the story that I got, that he wrote that on there with some paint. So in some way, it's kind of his autograph. Pretty fascinating. Okay, since we're so close to the World War II bunker where he presided from for all those years, did his fishing, his crabbing, lived out here in the wilderness. I mean, look at this place. It's absolutely mind-boggling how remote this area is. But something that I will tell you is I try to find some screen grabs or something from Google Maps, but the road it used to come in, people I guess used to like park right here, and this was like a sandy part of 421 back in the day. And if you go like straight, if you can look, we can kind of zoom in across there. In this tree line, there's like a little bit of thicket part of trees. It's like right here in this area. And maybe these trees here kind of outlines the road that used to bring you out here. It was just a little old sandy road. There's not a lot of pictures online of it at all. It's like really hard. But if you go on Google Maps and you look at this area and you look at 421 on the other side of these woods that takes you to the the ferry terminal will be like right over here in this vicinity. You can see a remnant of somewhat of a straight line that comes across this little marsh area. And this here would have been like the parking area, I believe, for the Fort Fisher Hermit. And this was like the end of the road right here. And you just walked between these and through that pathway and then out there to the World War II bunker. Yeah, I think that's how it worked. Okay, let's proceed on, get back on this trail and get out of this creepy area and walk on back to the World War II bunker. And then after that, we might walk back to the car. I'm going to drive you down to where I believe this road continued back to this point. Now, right now it's just woods, I'm sure, but still, nonetheless, I'm going to at least show you where I think the entrance was to get over here to this spot. Oh yeah, quick note, that snake that we seen earlier, I think it was just a common brown snake. So, was not poisonous or anything like that, if I did not tell you that. I know I told the people with the dogs that it was non-venomous, but I wasn't sure if I told my viewers that, but just a brown snake, nothing to be worried about. Very harmless. All right, so here we are. This right here is the Basin Trail. If you keep walking straight, you will go to the observation deck, which is a very pretty overlook down there. But right here is the World War II bunker. And it's just right off the Basin Trail, not very far at all, as you can see, maybe 10, 15 yards off. But this here was the home of the Fort Fisher Hermit for many years. And oh my gosh, somebody took the plaque that was here. There was a plaque that was sitting right there. You can see it in some of my older videos. I wonder why they took it. What the heck, man? I hope no vandals took that plaque. If they did, that is pathetic. Very sad. But people will bring flowers, little gifts, little keepsakes, and kind of tuck in the doorway here. But this is it. It's very, very dark in here and echoey. But this is what the inside of the bunker looks like, where he called home for so many years. And then in past videos, I've actually came around here on this side, which we're going to do today. This is like a hitchhiking Yeti special. Nobody else really does this, but I like climbing up here on the roof where you can kind of see the surroundings a little bit and see if we can kind of see the road a little bit better that I was talking about earlier. There we go. Got a Bo Duke that thing. All right. So unfortunately, we can't see very well, because look how tall the growth is of everything. You know, used to you could climb up here and things wasn't quite as tall, and you could really see the ocean. By the way, is back over this way, over here on this side, and the observation deck will be this way, which you used to be able to see. Wasn't quite as tall, but you know, that's progress being out here anyway. Back in the day when he lived here, there was none of this stuff. And oh heck, you can see the Cape Fear River, and you can see the ferry off into the distance there, or at least I can. I don't know if this thing will zoom good enough, but you can see that white moving, that white object. That is the Fort Fisher ferry coming over from Southport with a load of visitors. Yay. Lots of people coming. But yeah, can't really see anything up here. I thought you might could, but no real chance to see the road I was referring to earlier. Oh man, I didn't have my camera on. Dang it. Right here behind me in this thicket, probably about 8-10 yards in, was a deer standing right there looking at me. I guess I spooked it when I jumped down from the bunker, but he went and skedaddled. I'm gonna tell you, people don't believe this when I tell them, man, but there is an abundance of deer down here in this part, in this thicket, this marsh area, the basin, full of deer. Absolutely full of deer. Okay, so that being said, let's walk on back to the car. Or should I take you out? Let me take you to the observation deck. I'm feeling good today. Let's do it, man. We've walked all this way. We can at least make our way out there to the observation deck next and take a look at that. And then we're going to go back, get in the car, and then I'm going to take you down. We're going to wrap our video up where I think 421 entered into the woods and made her way out here to those concrete pylons. Look at the crabs out here trying to run around. Look at him. Ain't he cute? They trip me out how they walk sideways. They can run fast sideways. It's crazy. But when you're out here and you see all these little holes kind of nestled down in the sand, you see them everywhere. That's where the crabs dig down. That's their little areas. Oh, right there's one. Look. Look at him. Go on down there, buddy. He ain't ready. He's like, man, leave me alone. I ain't got time for that silliness. You can see them scampering right here too. As I walk, that's what I'm seeing. I just see little movements. It's like a bunch of roaches, but it ain't. It's just crabs. Which, I will tell you this. Those crabs right there, there's a little trick to catching those bad boys. And they make excellent bait, if you're a fisherman, for sheep's head. Sheep's head, love those. Sheep's head like crunchy stuff, like barnacles and stuff like that. Like around piers, walls, concrete walls in the salt water. They love that, man, eating on barnacles and stuff. And they also love eating those little sand fiddler crabs. Excellent bait. I think I've said that before, but I always like to throw that out there just in case somebody missed it. All right, I'm not quite to the overlook yet, but I just love this area right here, this little spot. And look at the birds out here. We got some cranes. These white birds, I think that's cranes. Ooh, there's one flying. Look at that. This is a popular spot for these type of birds. You can come out here just about any time and you see them out here flying around. They love it out here. And right in the back along that horizon line right there, that's the end of 421. That's where people park. And then this here is the Basin area, and this is where people come out here and do their water sports. You know, they get their kite boards and things like that out there. All right, let's keep on walking to the overlook now. All right, folks, we have made it to the good old Basin overlook. And this here gives you a good idea of where we're at. You can see right here is Zeke's Island. We're right here in this spot. This here is the overlook area. And then earlier we stopped right here and I showed you the cranes was out here, and we could see the boat where they put the boats in. We could see like the end of 421 located right there. So this is it. And I've also had a video, if you guys are interested, maybe I'll put it in the link down below, of walking out these rocks, what that's like. I did that last summer. And this was a great little adventure. The only thing that sucked about it, it was a big part of the rock wall was washed out right here. And you could walk through the water to get there, but I didn't. I like ended it right here. But back in the day, you could walk all the way over here to Zeke's Island, and there used to be a geocache right there on that island back in the day. My wife used to be into geocaching, and we walked over there one time. It's pretty cool. But all that being said, this here is what the overlook looks like. It's kind of nice. They got some benches out here. You know, it's in good shape. Very nice structure. Think about all the wind and storms this place sees. But it always seems like it's in pretty good shape. Got a little bit of a headwind blowing at us right now, but this here is the Basin. There's some people out there this morning doing a little, maybe some kayaking. 2 of them out there. And last weekend, when I was making a video, we was actually going across the Cape Fear River. There was some guys out there. It was really windy that day, and they was out there just having a good old time with their those like kite boards. It's like surfboards, and they got these big old canopies up in the air, pair boards, whatever they call them, like parasail almost. Yeah, really nice. All right, all that being said, let's head on back, get in the truck, and we're going to head over here in this direction next to the 421 to see if we can see any remnants of the old 421 where it made its way over to the Fort Fisher bunker area. All right, so this is really cool. You know that big white bird we seen earlier? I thought it was a crane, but actually right here is the name. Great egret is what it's called. So sorry I misspoke, but right here it is. We're both being educated. The great egret. Yeah, those are beautiful birds. I like them a lot. You see a lot of them out there at that Basin area. Just wanted to let you know, be a little factual there. All right, so right now I'm walking down Loggerhead Road back to the Fort Fisher parking area. I could walk along the beach, but I'm done walking in sand for today. Not a lot of fun to get sand in your shoes. But I did talk to a lady back there at the Fort Fisher Recreation area. She actually works for the North Carolina Aquarium at Fort Fisher, and she was setting up a tent, and she said there's going to be a lot of state agencies today in that parking lot. They've got a lot of tents they're setting up, doing a lot of work, getting things ready. They got tables set up, and there's going to be a lot of kids there learning about how to protect the environment, learning about animals and stuff like that. So that's what's going on today. And she was pretty stoked because the weather is so beautiful. And I gotta say, I totally agree with her. This has been a fantastic morning. And I bet they're gonna have a nice turnout because it is a beautiful day with plenty of that beautiful sunshine up there that we all enjoy so much. All right, I've made it back to Fort Fisher Overlook Parking. What a beautiful day. Look at the ocean. Got some people out here doing a little fishing. People having a nice little beach day. Not very crowded, but it's still early in the morning. I'm sure it's going to fill up today with this nice weather. All right, let's go get in the truck and head on down 421 and wrap up today's vlog. All right, here we are. We're driving down 421 now. And as we come around this pretty sharp corner right here, this is right here. Straight. So 421 back in the day, from what I can tell on Google Maps, used to go straight right here in this spot. So we're actually going to stop right here in this location and just kind of pull off and see what we can see right here. And this is a bike path right here, a walking path that will actually take you all the way to the Fort Fisher Aquarium parking area. All right, so I've made my way down here to this corner. This here is 421. We just drove right down through here and I parked right here on the side of the road. If you go down 421 all the way to the end, almost to the end, to the right down there, that is the ferry terminal. And so I think back in the day that didn't even exist, I bet. I think 421 used to come straight down through here, because when you look at like Google Maps from the air, I think the road used to extend right through here, and there's like this concrete pylon right there behind this brush right here. And I think this right here was the actual exit or entrance, if you will, that took you over toward the Fort Fisher Hermit. And right here next to this sign, there's actually a pathway back through here also with quite a bit of spider webs. But look at this pathway. I think this used to be where the road was actually at, right here next to this like the little estuary. It's like a little swampy area, but this back through here is still dry land. And I'm not walking any further. This is going to, you know, kind of wrap it up for me today, but this is the area that I think that the road used to be. many, many years ago. All right, I've made it down here to the end of 421. And I just want to give another shout out, give a big thank you to GMG Triad NC. It's his YouTube name. Hope you don't mind me saying that, but yeah, man, really appreciate you dropping that comment in the video, previous video that I made about the World War II like target practice place for the planes hidden out there in the Basin. Really appreciate that a lot. And tell me about the Fort Fisher signature out there on those concrete pylons. That was really a fun day. And just to give you some idea of where we was located today, the trail is right over here, is the Basin Trail, right out there in that area. That's where the bunker's located. And then we walked a little further out to the observation deck, which we was able to do the overlook of the Basin itself. So really had a wonderful day. We set out to do something, we completed it. And if you ever come down here and you want to see a beautiful sunset, my goodness, this top of this sand dune right here, where this funky little tree is, look at the root system on that thing. Yeah, that's a good place to take pictures too. Right here where you see the Fort Fisher ferry off in the distance headed over to Southport, that right there is about where you're going to see the sun go down, right in that area, just right over top of that green line right there. That's where you're going to see it happen. And it is stunning. It is so beautiful. And then since you're up here, you might as well take a moment and go check out this happy little mailbox right over here. Check it out. Somebody painted it. It ain't always looked this great. It looks beautiful right now. Look at that. How beachy is that? That is fantastic. I mean, if I didn't know better, I would think Mr. Rogers himself maybe come up here and put that there. That is such a happy looking mailbox. Just a joke, I'm just kidding. But normally they keep, yeah man, they got a brand new notebook on the inside. We got some pens in there. You can sign your name, put your thoughts to the world. Just say hello. Or just put my name in it. Say, hey, Hitchhiking Yeti told me to come here and check his mailbox out. Go check him out on YouTube. Subscribe. He's a pretty cool guy, right? He's pretty full of himself to say that. But all in all, I had a great day today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I had a wonderful time making it, man. I love getting out on these beautiful mornings, doing my walk and talks with that beautiful sun up there, just permeating down. It's so warm. The birds was chirping today. The snakes were running the trails along with me. Seen 3 snakes today. I only put one on camera. The other one spooked before I got there, because I mean, that's why I didn't do a whole lot of vlogging why I was walking the trail that much, because I wanted to have my eyes on the trail itself. I didn't want to step on something that might bite me or whatnot. But yeah, just brown snakes today. Nothing venomous, thank goodness. But you know, who wants to get bit by anything? A snake. I don't even like mosquitoes, man. I don't like anything. So all that being said, I'm all done. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. Until next time, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon. Summer's coming. Salt air, I can smell it. It's feeling good out here. I'm ready to get it on.